How's it going, everybody? Today we're taking a look at tble, the combination of words T and table. Essentially a brand new low-code database builder, very much similar / rip-off of Airtable. But it's got an interesting feature that kind of caught my eye, and that is basically it's Postgres. So yeah, let's see what that means. I've spent about 24 hours with it, and I've got some thoughts. So without any further ado, let's get stuck in. Oh, before I get started, if you're new here, hi, my name is Alex, and here on this channel we talk about anything and everything low code, databases, automation, AI, and the rest. So yeah, let's get started. Okay, first impressions of the website. Now, as soon as you visit the tble website, I mean, it's super clean, right? Postgres Airtable Fusion. Immediately, they throw their unique capability straight at you. You don't even have to scroll. Right after scrolling, you can kind of see there's some references to GitHub, and that's a very developer-y kind of flag. There's immediately the look and feel of the builder. There's a little video, we're not going to go into that, but then as soon as you kind of like start scrolling, and you might even notice it here, you have like 1 million rows, 1 million for records, and then immediately they kind of go straight into craft the next gen data experience, spreadsheet-like interactions, millions in data, and so forth. And they kind of appeal to, I feel, developers, at least initially. But generally speaking, as you'll see, the platform is kind of like for developers, but it's so clean that I think as a beginner, I'm not a beginner, but if I were a beginner, I would really appreciate the cleanliness of the whole setup. Now let's log in, I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so we've logged in, and yeah, as you can see, there's no dummy databases, there's no templates, like it's so very clean. You can create a base, you can create a space, and the thing that kind of resonates with my being at this point is that the terminology is very similar to what I'm used to. I have bases, within each base I have tables, I have fields, I have views, I have records. Now, it goes beyond that. If I open up a record, and if you're familiar with Airtable, you'll notice that even their URI structure is the same like Airtable. It follows the same principle. Well, Airtable has got app here. They call it base. So base, tbl, table, viw, view, and then record, rec. Like Airtable does exactly the same thing, so it's really easy to get familiar, especially if you're switching from Airtable to this. Now, overall, I would say that the look and feel of the builder is superb. There are elements to it that I feel I wish I had in Airtable. This lightness to everything is much appreciated. When I want to switch to dark mode, it's there. Just go into settings, turn dark mode on. I mean, I'm just going to revert it back to light so that we can see what we're doing. But there's some elements to this that clearly have been thought through really well. Now, the only gripe that I have, and we're going to go into building databases in a sec, but the only like minor thing that I have about it is there's like, you see how it takes a few milliseconds, and I'm nitpicking here, but I don't have a lot of records right now. Why do I have to see this like flash of stuff? What if I had 1 million records in there and it was all like interconnected? What would that feel like? It makes me kind of wonder, you know? But it is what it is. And at this point, the first impression is that I'm impressed. It's really good. And let's see how easy or difficult it is to build a database on tble. There you go. Now, let's go ahead and build an extra table and see how connecting it to other tables work and what the experience generally in that basic setup feels like. So right now I've got 3 tables: products, orders, order line items. Let's add a new table called clients. And immediately it added a new table. I can just double click, call it clients. I've got a name here that I can add. And let's say I want to connect that to an order. I can immediately create a new field. This is one of the odd things about tble that everything kind of seems to happen in the center of the screen, as you'll see, but adding a field, no, that needs to happen on the side, and it's a bit distracting that I have to, you get used to looking ahead and then boop, it's somewhere over there. So let's just call this orders. And here we can choose from one of the many field types. We're going to talk about them, but for now, I just want a link. And then I need to select a table, where orders, and here we have some toggles. Now these toggles are important and they're very useful. Create a symmetric link field in the link table. Yeah, in other words, create it here and there. Allow linking to multiple records. Yes, because a client can have many orders. Allow symmetric field linking to multiple records. No, an order can have only one client. So that needs to be turned off. And then we press save. And there we go. That's it. Now I can link an order. So double click, you can see immediately that I've got an order list here. Now this is amazing. This is better than Airtable because you can see all the fields of a particular order, not just like the label plus the first 4 fields of the first view. I always found that a little bit stupid when Airtable initially designed it and they haven't changed that. This is reminiscent of an ERP, of how ERP handles linking records, things like SAP. This is roughly how they do it. I'm exaggerating a little, but it's very similar where you can just select something, press confirm, and that's it. Now, let's say I want to edit that order. Well, you have to select it and then you can't really edit it. Let's say I want to change it, you kind of can't, unless I think if you go in here and then select, no, I don't think you can basically edit it from here. It's pointless. They are doing such a great job until this point, but you can't really edit anything. You can't travel through your records like you can with Airtable or things like Smart Suite. Especially Smart Suite does a fantastic job at this. But overall, you can see how easy it is to kind of navigate and create links, create fields. There is grouping as well. This one thing that I kind of don't like about grouping. So let's just choose something like this, or maybe let's go into products. Yeah. So if I go into products and I kind of try to group it by the line item, there we go, group by line item, you'll notice that it doesn't really summarize the group. It summarizes the countdown here like Airtable does, but groups are not being summarized. And it's very, very annoying because this is something that always existed in Airtable since almost the beginning of time, and you can't have it here, which is very, very annoying. We're kind of going in the direction of talking about views. So let's talk about views in more detail. All right, so let's talk about views. Not much to talk about because we only have 3 types of views. We have a grid view type, let me just be clear on that, which you can kind of basically treat as your regular grid view. There's form and there's Kanban. There's nothing else. There's no calendar view. There's no Gantt view. There's no, timeline view. None of that. Sadly, it's not there yet, but the product is in beta. So let's discuss, we've kind of already seen how grid view works. Let's talk about form view, which is one thing that I feel like pretty much all low-code databases stuck at. Of course, the grid view is the most important thing, but it would be nice for once to see a database to be able to pull off conditional logic. And it can't. So basically you select a field and you can edit that field generally, but you can make it required or not required, and you can hide it completely from the form. That is literally it. You want to share the form, be my guest, just turn on sharing and you get a link just like you can with Airtable, but that's basically it. Kanban is just a basic Kanban, nothing more, nothing less. Kind of boring, there's nothing to this. It's not its strong suit for sure. So let's now skip to the next section of this initial impressions review to fields, and let's see what's going on with fields. Fields. The lifeblood of any kind of database, low-code database. And tble has got a decent selection. Like I said, the only annoying thing that it kind of like comes up on the right. Why? But anyway, bottom line is that its selection is okay. There's nothing really missing, and there's really nothing exciting here either. Yeah, long text, numbers, single selects, all of that is very, very good and kind of boring. The most interesting thing I think that we need to talk about is the formula field. As soon as I select formula and then I want to write a formula, I get the formula editor come up right in front of me. I feel like this is better than Airtable's formula editor because it just comes up nice and center. There's space to write stuff, right? And there's a big left-hand side description of what each formula does. That is excellent. Not only that, I can start typing a type of formula, press enter without fully finishing it, and I can start, typing stuff in. It's not all roses. For instance, Airtable recently has introduced this ability to kind of like use like proper notation, just like you would use when you're writing any kind of code, CSS, HTML, where you can kind of like nest things. You can't do it here. This is very similar to how Airtable used to work, where we needed to open up like a little text processor like Sublime, write our expression in there and like copy paste it in. Yeah, that's kind of like how it works here, unfortunately. But, it works. It's okay. Confirm. And that basically, as soon as I press save, creates the calculation. Now, in terms of formula expressions or like the syntax in general, you have quite a few functions. It's all the stuff that you expect. There's not too much of it. There's not a lot of it. There's nothing really that tickles my fancy. Let's just say that as an expert, I feel like there's everything there. I've got all the colors that I need in order for me to paint an exquisite formula painting. It's okay. I wish there was like a select formula or like select expression that I could write and I could bring data from other tables, just like AppSheet does. Haven't seen that being done anywhere. Just like I wish they had something like the ability to sort an array, because oftentimes we work with arrays and we want to manipulate the contents of an array with precision. I can't complain. It's all right. It's all very good. It's time to take a look at some special features. And by special features, I mean one special feature. And that is that tble basically comes with Postgres, or at least Postgres credentials. So here's how I would use it in my day-to-day life. And you'll see that it's actually not usable. I tend to blame the fact that it's in beta, but just stick with me. So here we go. Basically, you can, while you are somewhere in a table, let's say we're in the products table, you can press this little cog thingy. Then you get credentials for a database connection. What you need to do next is jump into Looker Studio. For instance, I'm just gonna try and hook this up to a business intelligence, to like a dashboarding software, because I wanna create fancy little graphs and all of that. Basically, I can use the Postgres connector that comes with Google Looker Studio. I can put all of my data as I see it here in the database connection, the details. Of course, you need to copy paste your pass. And as soon as it connects, and it might take a few attempts, because when I was trying to do this, I was inputting the same exact data and I was getting errors, only until at some point, it basically stopped giving me errors and it allowed me to choose a table. But there are no tables in here. What you need to do is you need to write a custom query. And the custom query kind of has to go like this: select space star space from space BSC, and that's the base name, which is this thing over here. Just copy paste your own unique BSC code. And then, well, actually, you can actually find it here. There you go. And then close that quote mark, dot, and then the table, again in quote marks, and you can copy that from here, table in physical database. There you go. Just copy that, paste it in, and that's it. You will now have connected Google Looker Studio to tble. to that particular table in tble. Now, you see this little thing that comes up. Too many connections, right? So this, in its previous life, was like a little table view of my tble data. But yeah, the problem is that Looker Studio typically creates one connection per module. So if you want to create like a pie chart, that's one connection. If you want to create a graph of some sort, that's another connection. So, how long is a piece of string? How many of these modules do you think you'll have in a single dashboard? I don't know, tens? Well, that's tens of connections. And right now, tble supports 3 connections per base, as far as I'm aware. And that's not great. That's not great. It basically makes it pretty much unusable. I tend to blame the fact that it's in beta. I mean, if your app or whatever it is that you're using uses only single connection, then awesome, great, lucky you. But for like Google Looker Studio, which is kind of like what I use a lot, it's useless. There is another interesting point to make about this. Tble will not allow you to edit data through the Postgres connection. It's read only. If you want to make edits to the tble database, you have to do it through API. So yeah, that kind of sucks. I hope they change that. And that's about it in terms of this special feature thing that they've got going on. Let's now talk about my final thoughts. In conclusion, tble is a fantastic example of taking a big, evolved, complicated product like Airtable and stripping it down to its bare necessities, and actually what is left then is being turned into a nice, lean version of that inspirational original product. And I feel like they've really done a fantastic job when it comes to the editor, the experience of building that database, and a lot more. Like they are on a very, very, very good track. Now, what I want to see in the future, of course, like anybody, is more views, more view types. I mean, just automations. There's no automations. You can't really automate anything. And yeah, a few nice improvements of life. But generally speaking, I'm super interested in seeing how they will evolve this product in the future. It's got such a great core product that it will be just a shame if they don't take that further and expand it and make it more user-friendly as a no-code database that is also scalable to millions of rows. And yeah, more connections, please, for Google Looker Studio for the people that use that like I do. So yeah, that's it from me. Thank you so much for watching. We've recently just surpassed 1,000 subscribers, so thank you for that. Now, the next goal is, of course, 10,000 subscribers, and hopefully that will take nowhere near as long as it took to get 1,000. So yeah, that's it from me. Thank you so much. Catch you in the next one. Cheers.